Hi everybody. So this video is about former Formula One world champion and expert Damon Hill. Now, Damon Hill tweeted on Friday the 23rd of February, "This isn't right. I don't mean Albon specifically. They're all doing it and they must, but it ain't right. Hashtag F1." So what he's talking about there is that picture, and it's Alex Albon and his tyres are just touching the edge of the track, and most of his car is off the track. Okay, which is something that we are familiar with now seeing in Formula One racing. When they're trying to set fast laps times, they're literally only part of their car is touching the track. They're not fully on track. And I don't know why it's all highlighted in blue, but it is. Right, and Trevor Williams has replied, "Oh, by the way, 4.9 thousand people like that tweet. They like that tweet." Trevor Williams said, "There's nothing wrong with in that picture. The white lines are part of the track and his wheels are still on them." Okay. And Damon Hill says, "You misunderstand. I know the rules. I just don't like it." So 1.8 thousand people agree with that. They hearted that comment from Damon Hill. "I don't like it." So Damon, you've just stated to us that you know the rules and you don't like it. So what we're going to do, Damon, we are going to go through the rules with you and see which ones you like and which ones you don't like. There are, well, I don't want to lose what we know as being the strap-on fanboys. There's more than 21, and I know with the strap-on fanboys, even when they take their shoes and socks off, they can't count above the number 21. But there is more than that. But we're going to go through them, see which ones Damon knows, see which ones he likes, and see which ones are important. So this is the expert of Formula One, being a former world champion. Um, somebody that would know the rules of the sport, know the implications, know what's what, know what technically constitutes certain offences, and what he likes. We'll go through the rules first. In fact, we'll go through the offences and what's penalised. And we'll go through the 2021 season just for a laugh. So here we go. Bahrain 2021. First one then, Damon. Okay, the stewards having received a report from the race director, driver number 5, Sebastian Vettel. Failure to respect double yellow flags at turn 1. Okay, so this is during qualifying. Failure to respect double yellow flags at turn 1, which is a breach of the regulations, and it resulted in a 5 grid place penalty. 3 penalty points imposed on his super license. So if during a practice or if during qualifying you don't respect double yellow flags, then you get a 5 grid place penalty and 3 penalty points imposed on your license. Okay, so that is determined back in Bahrain. What else in Bahrain? Let's have a look at the next one, Damon. Okay, I'm sure you agree with that one. Fact, car 5 collided with car 31 at turn 1. Breach of Article 2D of the International Sporting Code, causing a collision. You get a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points imposed on your license. Okay, so that's Bahrain 2021. Emilia Romagna 2021. Sergio Perez overtaking 2 cars during a safety car period. Okay, so overtaking a car during a safety car period. These are all rules and regulations that you should be familiar with, Damon. You've got a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points imposed on your super license. Okay, so Emilia Romagna 2021. What else happened at Emilia Romagna 2021? Lance Stroll left the track and gained a lasting advantage. Okay, so what happened there then? 5-second penalty, 1 penalty point on his license. The stewards heard from the driver of car 18, the driver of car 10, and team representatives, and reviewed multiple angles. Okay, the stewards were informed after the race of an alleged breach. Having reviewed the video and heard from the drivers, the stewards concluded that car 18 was not able to complete his pass on car 10 at turn 2/3 without leaving the track completely, shortcutting turn 3 and returning to the track ahead of car 10. He then failed to give the position back. In hearing from the drivers, the steward accepted that car 18 was ahead of car 10 at the point he left the track, but that he was in that position because of a maneuver that he was not able to complete on the track given the wet conditions. So what you've done there's a car trying to overtake another car and went off track in doing so. Couldn't stay on track in completing that maneuver. Okay, so therefore he gets a penalty. That's all quite straightforward. Next one, Spanish Grand Prix. What happened at the Spanish Grand Prix? Car 14 forced car 18 off the track. So for this, there's no further action on this one. Let's have a look at the details of a car forcing another car off track and the stewards not taking action. Okay, the stewards heard from driver of car 14, Fernando Alonso, the driver of car 18, Lance Stroll, and team representatives, and reviewed multiple angles. Stroll was making a pass on Alonso on the outside of turn 1. Alonso was on older tyres, moved as far as possible onto the apex curve of turn 1, but was unable to hold the car's line. The stewards determined that throughout the incident, Alonso took all appropriate action to try to avoid car 18, but was unable to do so, forcing car 18 off the track at turn 18. That should be turn 1, shouldn't it? In the hearing, both drivers fully agreed that this was a racing incident. So this wasn't lap 1, just after a start where you're on fresh tyres, but when you're also on a full fuel load, so you as a driver know that the implications of being on tyres that have cooled down a bit because you've been waiting on the grid, and on a full fuel load, so your grip's going to be less with a heavy car. Okay, so throwing your car into turn 1, not being able to hold the apex, cutting across the line of your opponent, that's not mitigating circumstances there, is it? So you're forcing a car off the track, but what they're saying is he did look like he was attempting to leave that car track room, and it just was the circumstances being what they were meant that he wasn't. Okay, so both drivers agreed that that's okay, it's not a problem. Lance Stroll, this is Lance's side of things. So a breach here is did not pass behind the bollards on the exit of turn 2. And the reason that there's no further action required here is the stewards heard from the driver of of car 14, Fernando Alonso, the driver of car 18, Lance Stroll, and team representatives. Stroll was forced off the track between turns 1 and 2 in a racing incident with Alonso, and as a result of the incident was forced behind the apex curve at turn 2. Stroll explained to the stewards that he then steered to the left towards the bollards at the exit of turn 2. This was apparent from the in-car video. He then drove over one of the lateral curves behind turn 2, and the momentum and speed over the curve forced him to the right. Even after this, Stroll continued to try to steer left. The stewards were satisfied that Stroll made every attempt to steer around the bollards until it was not possible to pass behind them. Alonso, who was in the hearing, agreed that this was the case. Having not passed behind the bollards, Stroll then rejoined the track safely and deliberately slowed to let Alonso and Bottas, who was lapping, to pass him, eliminating any possible lasting advantage. Hence, no further action required. Compare that with the French Grand Prix of 2021, where there's clear instructions about how you must rejoin the track, and on lap 1, when not being pressured and not being forced off the track by somebody didn't do that, and no further action was required. The Austrian Grand Prix of 2021. What's the offence here? Antonio Giovinazzi overtaking during the safety car period. You get a 5-second time penalty and 2 penalty points on your licence. Are you following these rules? I'm sure you're nodding your head, Damon, and agreeing with these rules, or is it that you don't like them? I don't know whether you like these rules or not. Stop me when you come across one of these rules that you don't like, Damon. So the next one, Lando Norris forcing another driver off the track. You get a 5-second time penalty with 2 penalty points. On entry to turn 4, Perez and Norris were side by side. Then on exit, Norris was judged to not give Perez enough room, and Perez was forced off the track. Now, I don't know. If you're not giving the car that's alongside you on entry to a corner, well, the only reason it's alongside you is because you've made a late dive bomb to get there where you shouldn't, because you should have yielded because it was ahead of you at the braking zone to the corner, so you don't put a late dive on it. But if it's alongside you and you don't leave it track room, you're the one that's guilty of forcing it off the track. Okay, that's one of the rules and regulations of the sport, and you get penalised for it, as Norris did here in Austria of 2021. But also in Austria 2021, Sergio Perez, what happened here? Forcing a driver off the track. 5-second penalty, 2 penalty points on your licence. That was forcing Charles Leclerc off the track in Austria. Not once, Damon, but twice. This was the second time he did it. Also for another 5-second penalty and 2 penalty points on his licence. This was at turn 6 this time. The first time was at turn 4. What else happened at the Austrian Grand Prix? Kimi Raikkonen causing a collision with car 5 in turn 5. A breach of the FIA International Sporting Code. The decision was a drive-through penalty imposed after the race in accordance with Article 38.3, and 20 seconds added to elapsed race time. 2 penalty points on his licence. Okay, and the reason is team representative reviewed video evidence. Exiting turn 5, Raikkonen closed the door on Vettel, which caused a collision, taking both cars off the track. Stop me if you don't understand what any of these are, please, Damon. I can go through them with you. We can go through the footage. They'll block the video of me showing you what took place. But if you've got F1T, you can go onto each of these Grand Prix. You can go onto the FIA website and you can find each of these offences. Okay, you can select which Grand Prix, which season, so the 2021 season. You can select the Brazilian Grand Prix, and what will happen, it will come up with the list of documents, the FIA documents, and all of the offences that took place at that Brazilian Grand Prix, and it will generate you each of these PDFs with all of these FIA official documents on them. So that was Kimi getting penalised with 2 penalty points and 20 seconds added to his race time for closing the door. Can we think of occasions where certain drivers have closed the door on their opponent or forced their opponent off the track in Formula One? I can think of a few. I can think of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix where Lewis Hamilton was forced off the track at a chicane by Max Verstappen. I can think of the Spanish Grand Prix where Max Verstappen closed the door on Lewis Hamilton on lap 1 at turn 1. I can think of the Italian Grand Prix where Max Verstappen forced Lewis Hamilton off the track at the chicane. I can think of the Italian Grand Prix where Max Verstappen caused an accident by not yielding at the braking zone of the corner and landing on Lewis Hamilton's head. I can think of the Brazilian Grand Prix where Max Verstappen forced Lewis Hamilton off the track totally. I can think of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix where Max Verstappen forced Lewis Hamilton off the track totally, rejoined the track in an unsafe manner prior to one of the restarts, brake tested Lewis Hamilton, causing a collision. I can remember the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix where Max Verstappen forced Lewis Hamilton off the track at turn 6, whatever it was. Turns out I don't even care now. Right, I can remember these offences. There's another one that sprung into mind as I was going through that list, but it's gone now. They all pale into the insignificance. But no doubt these other tabs I've got open, they'll show you the FIA dealing with each of those offences that I've listed over the course of the season that Max Verstappen was guilty of. We now move. Oh, this was the one that one car shutting the door on the other car. That the same incident happened the week before or the 2 weeks before in Austria, where Kimi shut the door on Sebastian Vettel and got 20 seconds added to his race time and 2 penalty points. Silverstone, Lewis Hamilton causes the collision. Lewis was the one that gets a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points. Because Lewis was on a line that did not reach the apex of the corner. You're making this shit up, aren't you? You're lying to people there. You're convincing them of a narrative because actually the collision took place, impacting Lewis Hamilton's front wheels well before the corner. So Mystic Meg, with his crystal ball in the FIA steward's office, is predicting, we don't think that he would have reached the apex of the corner, which is irrelevant anyway. But what happened is Max Verstappen drove his car across the front of the other car and collided with it. You've got a car on your inside, you're going around a bend, you've got to leave track room, you've got to leave it space. It has to leave you space. It has to leave you at least 1 car width from the edge of the track for you to be able to make it round that corner, which it did. There were 3 car widths for you there, Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton wasn't crowding you. How much space did you leave Lewis Hamilton and how much did you crowd him? But the stewards, they see it differently. Do you like that, Damon? I like that. I don't like it. I don't know whether you like it or whether you don't, Damon. Who knows? Who knows? Is it all about likes these days? Is it all about likes? But you're the expert, so you can explain it to the fans, and they will appreciate your thoughts. They will appreciate your knowledge, and take that as education. The Hungarian Grand Prix causing an avoidable collision. You get a drop of 5 grid positions at the next event and 2 penalty points on your license. Okay, so they take into consideration track conditions being wet, but 1 car was fully to blame, so you get 5 place grid drop and 2 penalty points. Also at the Hungarian Grand Prix, causing an avoidable collision, drop of 5 grid positions and 2 penalty points. Italian Grand Prix, Antonio Giovinazzi, what did he do? Left the track and rejoined the track in an unsafe manner. Is this similar to that start that we saw at the Saudi Grand Prix, where Strap-on went off the track at the first corner, rejoined at turn 2, forcing Lewis Hamilton to take evasive action, enabling Esteban Ocon to get through. And then when Red Bull were able to negotiate with Masi the restart grid, they negotiated that they would allow Masi to restart with Max in third, just as long as Lewis was in second position. No, Red Bull, that was your boy rejoining the track in an unsafe manner that caused that, which would be a 5-second time penalty, which at that restart, because 5 seconds when you are spreading that across a bunch field at the start of a race, well, that puts you about to the back, doesn't it? And 1 penalty point on your license. What else happened at the Italian Grand Prix? Esteban Ocon, what did failed to leave 1 car width and caused a collision with car 5 in turn 4. Failed to leave 1 car width. Oh, remember Silverstone failing to leave 1 car width. You get a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point. Or is that the same as crowding? Okay, driving across the line of your opponent, causing a collision. Which of these rules will you like to choose to be the correct one to apply? Nikita Mazepin, what did he do? He collided and gets a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point. And they determined that he was predominantly at fault for the collision. Just 5 seconds for being predominantly at fault, not the 10 seconds that they gave Sir Lewis Hamilton. What's this one? This is the Italian Grand Prix. A collision with car 44 at turn 2. Car 33, car 44. Don't know which cars they are. Let's have a read what was going on here. And you get, you only get a 3 grid place drop. I thought Valtteri Bottas and Lance Stroll got a 5 grid place drop at the next Grand Prix. But car 33 just gets a 3 grid place drop. They heard from the driver of car 33, I can't read that word there, and the driver of car 44, I can't read that word there, and team representative, and reviewed the video evidence and determined that car 33 was predominantly to blame, not fully to blame, predominantly. Car 44 was exiting the pits, car 33 was on the main straight. Oh, this is a lovely story. Picture the scenario. At the 50-metre board, you know, you've come down a long straight. Do you think at the 50-metre board you're hitting the brakes? I'd suggest you are. Before turn 1, car 44 was significantly ahead. Oh, okay, so what do you do if you're behind the car at the braking zone? Oh, that's not your corner, is it? Okay. Car 33 braked late and started to move alongside car 44, although at no point in the sequence does car 33 get any further forward than just behind the front wheel of car 44. Okay, so whose fault? Who shouldn't be there? Oh, predominantly. No, totally. You shouldn't be there. Oh, predominantly. Look at the narrative. Look at the excuses. Look at what we want to take into account. Look how we don't want to project the blame on somebody, but we're quite happy to in every other scenario. Oh, this is just, both drivers were at fault on this one, but he was just a little bit more to blame on this one. He wasn't fully to blame. We'll only just give him 3 3 place grid drop next time. And it was actually the during the hearing, the driver of car 33 asserted that the cause of the incident was driver 44 opening the steering after turn 1 and squeezing him onto the apex of turn 2. So driver 33 said, "Oh, it's not me. I got squeezed." No. At that point, when you're not alongside at the braking zone, you back off. You were behind at the braking zone, you back off. Oh, no. After going round, he squeezed me. No, because you shouldn't be there. And driver 44 asserted that driver 33 attempted to pass very late and should have given the corner up either by backing off sooner or by turning left behind the curb. Stewards observed the CCTV footage that the driver of car 44 was driving an avoiding line, as he had to do all season, was driving an avoiding line. Driving an avoiding fucking line, which is what he had to do all season. Driving an avoiding line. Where are we now? We've missed a bit. Driving and avoiding line, right? Where are we? I've lost my space. Was driving an avoiding line, although his position caused car 33 to go onto the curb. Oh, it was Lewis that caused him to go onto the curb, not the fact that Max put himself there when he shouldn't have been there. Okay? But further, the stewards observed that car 33 was not at all alongside car 44 until significantly into entry of turn 1. In the opinion of the stewards, this manoeuvre was attempted too late for the driver of car 33 to have the right of racing room. Okay, so it means that car 33 is wrong, fully to blame. And whilst car 44 could have steered further from the curb to avoid the incident, he could have driven an even more avoiding line to get out of the way of getting hit. So because he should have jumped out the way even more, we're going to give Max just 3 place grid drop, yeah? Right. Think about Spain. Oh, Lewis jumped out the way there, so there was no collision, so we won't do anything. No, the penalty is the driving, the crowding that you're not allowed to do. Oh, but the other driver jumped out the way of that, so it didn't cause a crash, so we'll let that go. No, the penalty is crowding. The offence, sorry, is crowding, and that's the offence that needs penalising. Whilst driver 44 could have steered further from the curb to avoid the incident, the stewards determined that his position was reasonable and therefore, Lewis was reasonable, was he? And therefore found that driver of car 33 was predominantly to blame. Not fully to blame, predominantly to blame. In coming to the penalty, the stewards emphasise that they have only considered the incident and not the consequence thereof. Oh, this is quite key, isn't it? They've only considered the incident and not the consequence. So that you're only considering the fact that Max Verstappen put himself into a position which caused a situation. You're not considering what that situation then became. So you're not considering the fact that it became a crash and put the other car out of the race. But what you are saying is he put himself in a position where the other driver had to take evasive action. Because that's all you're saying, isn't it? You're only considering the incident, what he did. Oh, he wasn't there on braking zone. He was behind. He shouldn't have been there. Right. Let's think back to Spain. Shouldn't have been there. The other car had to move to avoid the collision. So we're not considering the consequence of whether or not it involved a crash. You forced another driver to have to deviate their line due to your dangerous driving. That's the offence. Because you're not considering the consequence. What's the next one? Russian Grand Prix. Let's have a look at the Russian Grand Prix. Lance Stroll, collision with car 10 in turn 8. 10-second penalty imposed after the race and 2 penalty points. Okay. What happened here? Wholly to blame for a collision. Although noting the evidence of the driver of car 18 that the conditions were extremely slippery, especially as he was on old hard tyres, the stewards determined that it was still the responsibility of the driver to ensure that, having left the track due to those very same conditions, he drove appropriately, taking them into account when he rejoined and turned into the next corner. You've got to drive appropriately, haven't you? You've got to drive appropriately. Oh, so Emilia Romagna, when you run another car off the track in the wet, oh, but you've got to drive appropriately to the conditions, haven't you? Because the stewards say you have. 10-second penalty, 2 penalty points on your licence. Turn 1, Spain. You've got a full fuel load. You're starting a race, so you might not have full grip on your tyres because they might have cooled down a bit while you're waiting on the grid. You've got to drive appropriately and not send it into that first corner, causing the car to have to deviate off its line. You've got to drive into a corner appropriately so you can make it around that corner, like in Brazil 2021, like in Saudi 2021, and not make sure that your car goes off the other side of the track, forcing the other car off the track. Otherwise, there'd be a certain collision. Driving appropriately. Stop me if you don't like any of these rules, Damon. Turkish Grand Prix 2021. Fernando Alonso, collision with car 47, breach of Article 2, 5-second time penalty, 2 penalty points. Stewards reviewed the video evidence. Oh, we've got video evidence. Stewards reviewing video evidence. Would that be video assistant referee, VAR? This concept that they were going to introduce into Formula One after the 2021 Abu Dhabi debacle. In the Abu Dhabi report, that they decided that we're going to introduce a VAR system to help us with our decision making. Incredible. What a great idea. Stewards reviewed the video evidence and determined that Alonso caused the collision. Alonso tried to make a move on Mick Schumacher at the inside on the approach to T4, but never in a position to complete the move. and made contact. Alonso predominantly to blame. 5-second time penalty, 2 penalty points. What else happened in Turkey? Pierre Gasly, 5-second time penalty, 2 penalty points. A collision with car 14. Stewards reviewed the video evidence and determined that Gasly caused the collision. Gasly tried to negotiate turn 1 with Perez on the inside and Alonso on the outside. Alonso was slightly in front of Gasly at the exit of the corner when both cars made contact, causing Alonso to spin. The stewards determined that Gasly was wholly at fault for the collision, as he did not leave enough space for Alonso on the outside. It should also be... so if you don't leave enough space for the other car on the outside, then that's an offence. And if the other car is forced off the track, then that's an offence. What's that done then? Spain 2021, Emilia-Romagna 2021, Italy 2021 twice, Saudi Arabia 2021, Abu Dhabi 2021, Brazil 2021. Have I missed any? Silverstone 2021, Mexico 2021. What's going on here? What's going on? Oh, Michael Massey's telling everybody something. Oh, this was it. The bit in italics. From the race director, Michael Massey tells us Mexico 2021. However, manoeuvres liable to hinder other drivers, such as deliberate crowding of a car beyond the edge of the track or any other abnormal change of direction, are strictly prohibited. Any driver who appears guilty of any of the above offences will be reported to the stewards, and the stewards will not enforce anything if it relates to car 33 being guilty of any of those offences. Brazilian Grand Prix. So, the Brazilian Grand Prix, remember the Brazilian Grand Prix where Max Verstappen fully forced Lewis Hamilton off the track? Yeah, remember that one? Okay. That's for in the last 4 races of the season, where had Max Verstappen managed to crash Lewis Hamilton out of any of those races, he'd have become the world champion. Yeah, that Michael Schumacher got banned got disqualified from an entire season for doing the same thing. Right, so what happened at Brazil? Yuki Tsunoda collided with car 18 at turn 1. He gets a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points on his licence. What prevented the collision in Brazil between Hamilton and Verstappen? Oh, that was Lewis Hamilton having to drive an avoiding line. Okay. Car 22 was slipstreaming car 18 along the front straight and was considerably faster on the inside at turn 1. However, he braked too late. And find him wholly at fault. Okay, but so that was that at Brazil. What were the other penalties imposed at Brazil? This Lewis Hamilton. This involves Lewis Hamilton. This was the Hamilton Verstappen incident where Verstappen drove him off track. What's the penalty here? The fact Lewis Hamilton undid safety belts whilst in motion on the track. The driver is fined €5,000 with an additional €20,000 fine, which is suspended through to the end of 2022. And what would be the reason for this? The stewards heard from the team representative and reviewed video evidence. The driver of car 44, Lewis Hamilton, undid his seatbelts on the in-lap at the end of the race. While the stewards are sympathetic to the desire to celebrate, it is fundamentally unsafe to undo the seatbelts whilst the car is in motion. Slow speeds in these cars are very fast for an unrestrained occupant. Further, Formula One drivers set the example for junior categories. It is critical that junior category drivers learn the importance of using the safety devices of the car at all times. It's also extremely important that the drivers in the junior categories learn the rules of engagement of the sport, understanding when running another driver off the track constitutes an offence where you receive a penalty, where crowding your other driver off the track constitutes an offence where you get a penalty. You're setting the example to the junior drivers in the junior formulas. Surely this one, oh, hang on, just back to, so Lewis Hamilton gets a penalty in Brazil for undoing his seatbelt on the cool down lap, celebrating the win, and Yuki Tsunoda gets a penalty. No mention of Max running Lewis off track. Tell us, Damon, do you understand the rules? I just don't like it. Do you like it, Damon? I don't like it. Tell us what you like, Damon. Do you like that rule or not? I don't know whether you like it or not, Damon. Qatar Grand Prix. Christian Horner. What did Christian Horner? What? He's not a competitor. He can't drive for shit. He's a failed driver. Couldn't even get into Formula One, could he? He's famous for other things. What's going on here then? Fact, Mr. Horner made a statement accusing the flag marshal who waved the double yellow flag at point 16.6 as being a rogue marshal. Oh, so you're inciting the strap-on fanboy. So you've breached the FIA International Sporting Code and you get an official warning. The steward heard from the team principal. He explained his reaction was one that was made under pressure of competition following the penalty imposed on driver of car 33. Oh, it was under pressure, wasn't it? Under pressure. Okay. Same sort of pressure that you put Michael Massey under, Christian. Yeah, right, that one. The stewards explained that the marshal concerned was doing his job in precisely the manner prescribed in the International Sporting Code. Mr. Horner offered to apologise to the marshal concerned and explained to the media that he made no offence. Oh, but you've already had it put out in the media, the notion of it being a road marshal to incite the strap-on fanboys, incite the crazies in the comments section that use that as validation for Max Verstappen, fully deserving to be gifted the World Championship and having no luck. You had no luck, Max. You absolutely deserved it. You absolutely deserved it. You had no luck. Because you had a rogue marshal there that wasn't a rogue marshal, but Christian Horner incited the crazies. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. What happened here? Yuki Tsunoda, collision with car 5 in turn 2, breach of Article 2, 5-second penalty, 2 penalty points. Are these cars that are colliding because they're not good enough to jump out the way? They shouldn't have to jump out the way, but if you're that good that you know you're up against some prick that's going to drive into you, you're driving with a sixth sense and you're driving not only like a world champion that is driving on the limit, but on the limit with the ability to jump out of the way of somebody driving their car at you. That's a different level of ability altogether. That's a different level of ability altogether. But these are the pricks that can't jump out the way because they're just not on the same level. 5-second time penalty, 2 penalty points. Tsunoda locked up, went straight ahead, caused a collision. Why is that? Because you're going too fast into the corner and you're not going to slow the down. It's not, oh, you carried so much extra speed and it's understeer. No, you've gone too fast into a corner, causing the problem. That's the offence. It's not the consequence of the offence. That's the offence is what you're doing wrong. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. This has got to be Max Verstappen running Lewis Hamilton off the track at turn 1, rejoining the track in an unsafe manner, brake testing Lewis Hamilton. These are the offences he was guilty of. Let's see what happened. Let's Max Verstappen race, leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage. 5-second time penalty, 1 penalty. Did he not force the other car off the track? Yes, he did. So he's forced Lewis Hamilton off the track. That's 2 penalty points. Determined that Verstappen left the track at that turn 1 and rejoined, gaining a lasting advantage. He's run the other car off the track. You've downplayed that offence, haven't you? What's the next one? What are we saying here? Max Verstappen braked in a manner which caused a collision. Brake testing. A heinous offence in motorsport where there are no brake lights. 10-second time penalty and just 2 penalty points for that. Remember, Sebastian Vettel got 3 penalty points for ignoring double wave yellows. And yet, a brake test just gets you 2 penalty points. The stewards heard from driver of car 33 and the driver of car 44 and team representatives reviewed the video and telemetry evidence and determined that the driver of car 33 was once again predominantly at fault. Okay, not fully at fault, not fully. No, it wasn't fully Max's fault. Just predominantly. At turn 21, the driver of car 33 was given the instruction to give back the position, as if this is relevant, as if this matters to the car that's behind him. Okay, and was told by the team to do so strategically, so that even becomes part of it. You've got to give a place back, but do it tactically. No, you don't do it in a way that benefits you. You do it because you're being penalised. Okay, this is your penalty. So you take your penalty. Oh, we'll take the penalty. We'll take the penalty tactically. Right, okay. Rightio. Car 33 slowed significantly at turn 26. However, it was obvious that neither driver wanted to take... Oh, it was obvious that neither driver... Was it obvious that neither driver wanted to take the lead? Or was it? And again, no fucker has ever revealed this. And I'll do a video on this. Nobody looked at it from Lewis Hamilton's perspective and goes, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this prick slowing down in front of me? Because this prick's going to give me nothing. He's tried to run me off the track already 5 times this season, 6 times this season. Would rather crash me out of the race than give me anything. What is going on here? Have I missed something? Lewis Hamilton did not know what was going on there. You're driving around a street circuit at night. Effectively a street circuit at night. A car in front of you, a car that gives you nothing, a car that is going to run you off the track if it's got half a chance. Start slowing down. Now what do? Do you assume? Or do you think, right, what's going on? Have I missed a yellow flag? If I go past him, I'm going to get penalties. That will ruin my championship. So you slow down. You slow down. You slow down. Bang! There's a crash. But the stewards say, oh, it was obvious that neither driver wanted to take the lead prior to the DRS detection line 3. Oh, well, whose narrative is that? Whose narrative is that? The driver of car 33 stated he was wondering why car 44 had not overtaken. And car 44 stated that, having not been aware at that stage that car 33 was giving the position back, was unaware the reason why it was slowing. In deciding to penalise the driver, car 33, the key point the stewards was the driver of car 33 then braked suddenly, 69 bar, and significantly resulting in a 2.4G deceleration. That's called a brake test. Whilst accepting that the driver of car 44 could have overtaken car 33 when that car first slowed, we understand why he did not wish to be first across. Oh, but we understand that Max didn't want to be first across the DRS line, so that's a mitigating circumstance for him to ram the brakes on. However, the sudden braking by the driver of car 33 was determined by stewards to be erratic and hence the predominant cause of the collision and hence the standard penalty for a brake test. The standard penalty that they try to lie to you. No, the standard penalty for a brake test is a fucking black flag of this type of incident is imposed. Competitors are reminded they have the right to appeal. You misunderstand. I know the rules. I just don't like it. Do you understand these ones, Damon? Do you understand these ones about when Mercedes appeals to the governing body that the governing body has broken its rules? Do you understand that the governing body inviting Red Bull into that appeal for Red Bull to present its argument? Do you understand that that isn't in the rules? They're no part of that conversation. Governing body, you've broken the rules of the sport. Oh, let's bring along Red Bull to see what Red Bull think. Red Bull, do you think the governing body has broken the rules of the sport? Ah, well, no, you see, no, because actually, the race director's got overriding authority. Once the last lap, well, you don't have to release all of the lap cars because any doesn't mean all. Once you've told the safety car that it's got to come in at the end of this lap. Oh, so you're making your own shit up now, aren't you? You're making your own shit up because it works for you, but that's not what the rules are. That's not why they are, Damon. You know, Damon that knows what the rules are. I know the rules, I just don't like it. What are the rules then, Damon, of the safety car? That once that safety car is deployed, effectively that race gets neutralised, and the only way you can restart after a safety car situation is by carrying out mandatory procedures that effectively reset that race to a zero position. That being, them cars have to be in the correct race order and essentially bunched up pretty much nose to tail, and try and do your best to achieve that. And those procedures are written the way that they were, and still are, to accomplish that. And if you don't carry out those procedures, you're fixing outcomes. The cars that have been left a lap behind now, such as the example I've given every time, Norris relative to Gasly. Norris was closer to Gasly before Latifi crashed than Verstappen was to Hamilton. But because you didn't release the cars and give them that one lap to actually make it around to try to catch the back of the pack, Norris is now left the best part of a lap behind Gasly. Norris is challenging Gasly for position. You've disadvantaged him. You've allowed a safety situation to ruin somebody's race. Hence the regulations being what they are. Have you ever explained that, Damon? Do you know the rules? I just don't like it. I don't like it. I want that one. Which one do you want, Damon? Which rule do you want? Do you like these rules, Damon? Or do you not like them? You see, the problem you have, Damon, the reason why I have an issue with you is you're a liar, and people believe in you, Damon. Being a former world champion, they believe you. You know, so when Sky Sports is spending the first 8 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix complaining about when Lewis Hamilton was crowded off the track and going, oh, you should have given that place back, you should have given that place back, you should have given that place back, and you incite the crazies. And F1 TV, they play you message after message. Christian to Michael, we're not happy about that. Well, that's not live, is it? They don't have to play that to the world. They play that to the world to incite the crazies, to incite the violence, to incite the conflict. You don't have to do that. You're in charge of choosing what you are going to play to the world. You don't have to have the team manager shouting at the referee, and you don't have to broadcast that. That's a choice. Why are you doing that? Michael, this is Jonathan. We're very cross. We still don't understand. Why are you playing that one? Why are you still doing this 8 laps into this? Why are you getting the opinion of Damon?
Yeah, I tend to agree with what Nico said. I think when you look at it back, you know, you have to say that Lewis had to basically move out of the way, because otherwise he's
absolutely right, Damon.
Going to collide with Max, who made a very uncompromising, very late lunge.
Uncompromising? No, a wrong gun.
Which left no room for Lewis to make any...
Yeah, crowding, running him off the track. They're offences. They're things you get penalties for.
Accommodation. He had to leave the track. But I have to say, I am surprised they didn't say, give the place back.
What? Give the place back? You've just acknowledged that one car ran the other car off the track, and you're suggesting the car that's been ran off the track has to give a place back? The fuck are you going on about?
Because, you know...
Yeah, totally. I actually agree with you, Damon.
Thanks for that, Jensen. All of you agree with your little circle jerk. All the experts agreeing with the same little circle jerk notion. What else have we got up here? I've got quite a few tabs open. Let's have a look. Let's see what Damon's got to say here.
The sort of... Yes, I mean, it used to be you had a set of regulations and everyone understood what to expect when a procedure was happening. But throughout last year, there was a kind of moving of the targets.
There used to be a set of regulations that everybody understood. Yeah, so what changed? Moving of the targets?
Whether it was track limits, whether it was overtaking procedures, and some of that was put...
Well, them sorts of things did get penalised. You know, the track limits thing, who got a penalty for track limits all season? No, you got lap times deleted. You know, they all were doing it. Again, that was Horner inciting the crazies in Bahrain. Lewis has gone off track, but as soon as we say we're going to do that, they say, no, you're not allowed to do that. Well, it's because everybody just was doing that. And you could have done that, but instead you chose to make a fucking public announcement about this. In which case they're going to go, well, no. If you're going to start gobbing off and inciting people and you're going to start making this public, then we'll say, well, these are the rules and this is what we're going to now enforce. But then you look at every Grand Prix subsequent to that and how many times cars left the track as going round the circuit, which you don't like, Damon. But how many times was that penalised?
Pushed by drivers, by team managers. So
crowding, driving another car off the track, dangerous driving, causing collisions. Well, they were punished unless they involved one competitor, and then they weren't. 6, 8 times. What's going on there?
FIA and F1 responded to the demands of fans to see better racing, and so some of those...
Better racing? They responded to the demands of fans. No. This is a construct. They responded to the demands of the owners of the sport, or the people that are influencing the sport, to manufacture Max Verstappen as a world champion.
All those regulations suddenly became movable feasts.
No, they didn't, did they? They just applied them to one driver.
And that's really why it ended up where it did, I think. At the end, the race director thought, well, I'm going to apply the flexible interpretation.
No. I thought you knew the rules, Damon. There's not a flexible interpretation, is there? I know the rules, I just don't like it. No, but now you're telling us there's a flexible interpretation.
To the regulations and give people what they want, which was a thrilling...
Give who? Who are you giving what they want? Who are you giving what they want?
Last lap, which is what happened. Unfortunately, Lewis was a dead duck the moment the safety car came in. He could have defended, but what's he to do against the guy who's got more points than him?
Oh, predominantly to blame. Yeah, it wasn't. It's partly Lewis's fault that he didn't defend. Lewis was partially to blame, was he? Yeah. Thanks for that, Damon. Thanks for your valuable insight. Now, you see, what we get the crazies. We get the strap-on fanboy, and the strap-on fanboy is attracted to social media pages, YouTube channels that they don't like. I don't like it, but I'll subscribe and I will leave comments. And what I will do, this one here, what we call Ruby Bitch, right? Ruby Bitch is quite clever. They've discovered the copy and paste, because what Ruby Bitch does, they copy and paste their comment into all of my videos that they can. Well, not all of them, but a few. And what Ruby Bitch likes to say is this, and I blame you for this. I blame you for this entirely. Sky Sports F1, the likes of you, Damon Hill. James, can we please establish some credentials? After all, you are the one holding everyone in F1 to account. You call for transparency, so you should also be transparent. Have you ever raced any type of car/bike, worked in a racing team, been a flag marshal at a motorsports event? I think that's where your problem is. You can't. We need to establish this to enhance your credibility for those viewing this channel. You are critical of the stewards, which are ex-F1 WEC drivers, in which experience would count for 100s of GPs. You are critical of world champions' comments, two of which are second generation world champions with motorsport blood flowing through their veins. It seems that your only qualification is the 6 cans of Stella you consume prior to each of your wonderful, amusing videos. Please don't be offended. I love your content. It's hilarious. And we've copied and pasted that. So, in order for somebody to accept validity of information, the information has to come from somebody that they believe to be authentic. And if they believe you to be authentic, they believe what you say. They don't break down what you say and blow it to shit, which is what I've just done. They like what you say because it validates their desires. You validate them with lies, with false narrative. This is what you have done. You've incited the crazies. You've given them the ammunition. You've caused the conflict by lying, by validating the corrupt agenda, rather than calling out the simple truth of the facts. The truth of the matter, where I can go through each of those incidents relating to each of those FIA documents, show you exactly what went on, compare and contrast each of those incidents with the incidents that Max Verstappen perpetrated and was not punished for. And who is saying it? Who in Sky Sports F1 is saying anything like that? Who in Sky Sports F1 is telling you what the safety car procedure is for? Why it is what it is, and why, if it's not done, what it causes? They're not doing that. Oh, but Damon Hill hasn't told me that that's what it's for or that's what it means. So you're the one that's wrong. I'm the one that's wrong. I'm the one that's wrong. Well, my credentials. No, I don't come from a motorsport background, but I don't need to. My background is different to that. Does Damon Hill come from a background of educating you, from education, having the ability to break things down so that you, if you have an ability to operate your mind, can understand it? Does he have that? Or is Damon Hill being paid to present something to you? I wonder which of those statements is true. Damon Hill comes from a background where he can break something down, the simple things down, and explain them to you so that you can gain a sound understanding of something. Does he have that background? Or is Damon Hill being paid to present something to you? Is there a motive? Is there an agenda? I wonder. Does the intelligence of somebody impact whether or not they're experienced or not? Does that mean whether they're good at something or not? Jose Mourinho is a football manager. Was he a successful football player? Not particularly. Did that mean, oh, you were never very good football player, so therefore you can't be a manager? Well, he's been quite successful. Does being a reasonably good football player mean that you're good at anything else? I remember seeing Jack Wilshere, who wasn't a bad player, played for Arsenal for several years. You know, you'd say he was a decent player, played for Arsenal, played for England, decent enough footballer. Saw him as a pundit, absolutely dog shit. Oh, but he knows more. He can tell me more about football than you because he used to be a professional. Yeah, but he can't explain it to you very well because he's dog shit. Just because you've got a track record of being involved doesn't mean that that's what your capability then is. But the crazies don't understand that. You know, when you went to school and you sat in a science lesson and your physics teacher was explaining physics to you, did you say, oh, well, you didn't split the atom. You weren't involved in developing the nuclear bomb. You weren't part of the Manhattan Project. Your name's not Oppenheimer. You can't teach me. You don't know. You don't know. No, but I know enough to be able to explain this shit to you. That's the way things work. But you can't get through to these people that the people that are explaining it to them, that they believe in, they're being paid to present a corrupt agenda. And I'm saying to you, look at what is true here. This is what really took place. And the world has been lied to. And they've been lied to through the media to convince people of the lie of a fixed sporting event. Now, it's up to you. I mean, ultimately, there'll be people that have watched my videos and they can see. But the strap-on fanboy, which we now see come here to the channel to dislike my videos because they don't like it. Their brains don't like the fact that the man that I like, the man that I want to win, because I don't like the black man, and I don't like him, so I don't like your videos because they're explaining something that I don't like. And you'll never get these people to look inwardly at themselves. But they like to come here. And they like to, rather than look inwardly, they like to project. They like to project. Psychopath James finding out that motorsport is somewhat controlled road rage, is it? Is it? Okay. Thank you for that. Psychopath James again. Inciting people, inciting the violence, inciting the conflict. This is what this show has done. This is what these bastards have knowingly done. They've sold themselves out. They're using their existence to take money to present lies to people. Truly filthy. Until next time.